There's a lot happening at Disneyland right now, and some of these updates are bigger than they look. Disney just brought in a new CEO. Bluey has taken over Fantasyland. Oga's Cantina quietly changed part of its story, and the Food and Wine Festival is still going strong at DCA. Let's get into all the latest Disneyland updates. Hey everyone, I'm Julie from Main Street U.S.A. Studios. Let's get into this week's latest. There is a major shift happening at Disney right now, and it's not just behind the scenes. We've officially got a new CEO, and within his first day, he's already addressed some of the biggest topics guests have been talking about, from those ticket prices and lightning lanes to DAS and even AI. Bob Iger stepped down this week as CEO, and Josh D'Amaro has now taken over the role as of March 18th. If you follow the parks at all, D'Amaro is a very familiar name. He's been leading Disney Experiences for the past several years, overseeing the parks, the cruise lines, and consumer products. He's also been closely tied to a lot of the recent changes we've seen in the parks, especially on the operations and guest experience side. As part of the big transition, he shared his first message to cast members where he emphasized the idea of One Disney, bringing all parts of the company together and keeping creative excellence as a top priority moving forward. And Josh also took time to recognize Bob Iger, congratulating him on his leadership and the big impact he's had on Disney over the past 2 decades. And almost immediately, we started hearing more about how D'Amaro plans to approach some of the biggest topics affecting guests right now. And so, during that first shareholder meeting, D'Amaro got into some real specifics, starting with ticket prices. He called a Disney trip a meaningful investment for families and pointed to how Disney is trying to offer different ways to visit depending on budget. He specifically mentioned things like lower-priced ticket days, multi-day tickets that reduce the daily costs, and promotions like the recent kids' ticket deals at Disneyland. But he also made it clear that the goal isn't to lower prices overall. It is to make the experience feel worth it when guests do visit. He also addressed Lightning Lane and gave a pretty clear explanation of why it works differently between Disneyland and Disney World. At Disney World, the system is built more around planning your day in advance, since guests are navigating a much larger resort with multiple parks and transportation. Whereas at Disneyland, everything is much closer together, so the system is designed to be more flexible and day of, allowing guests to make decisions as they go rather than locking things in early. Which we totally get, but we'd love to be able to plan lightning lanes in advance. He also touched on Disability Access Service, which you may know as DAS. He said Disney worked with medical and accessibility experts on making recent changes, but he didn't make any promises about future updates. And then interestingly, shareholders actually voted against a proposal to investigate those DAS changes further, which suggests Disney is likely staying with the current system for now. Another topic he brought up was AI, saying Disney plans to use it to improve efficiency and personalize experiences. Things like better app recommendations or smoother operations, but not to replace the creative side of what Disney does. And so overall, this gives us a much clearer picture of how D'Amaro is thinking, focusing on flexibility, technology, and refining the current experience rather than making big, sweeping changes right away. And with everything happening at Disneyland right now, this leadership shift could end up shaping a lot of what we see in the parks over the next few years. Oga's Cantina in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge has officially reopened at Disneyland, and there's a small but interesting change inside. Oga's was closed for nearly 2 months for refurbishment from January 20th through March 13th. It reopened on March 14th. And honestly, most of the space looks the same, but Disney has made subtle update tied to the larger timeline changes coming to Galaxy's Edge. Remember, from a few months back, Disney announced that the restricted timeline in Galaxy's Edge was ending, and now all characters will exist at the same time, even if it doesn't make sense for some of them to be alive at the same time, for example. So a reference to the now closed Star Wars Galactic Cruiser, the hotel in Florida, has been removed from inside the cantina and replaced with more general, in-universe messaging, making the space feel less tied to a specific storyline, which lines up with Disney's plan to expand Galaxy's Edge beyond a single point in time and bring in characters from across different Star Wars eras. If you are heading to Oga's Cantina, it is a walk-up standby spot. Because it's so popular but also small, visits are typically limited to about 45 minutes. It does open around 10 a.m. and runs into the evening, so if you're willing to wait, you can usually get a spot. So not too much change at Oga's like we were thinking. We did see that the milk stand is closing briefly next though, so maybe some small changes will be happening there too. A new Throwback experience is coming to downtown Disney, and it's all about classic Disney Channel vibes. From March 27th through June 7th, the Disney Plus Throwback Dance Party will take over the downtown Disney Live stage and lawn on weekends from 12 to 3 p.m. This daytime party will feature music from Disney Channel favorites like The Proud Family, Descendants, Camp Rock, High School Musical, Zombies, and Hannah Montana. There will also be a themed photo op inspired by these iconic shows. We're guessing it'll be a step and repeat. So if you're in downtown Disney on a weekend, be sure to check it out. Bluey's Best Day Ever officially begins today, March 22nd at the Fantasyland Theater, and it's one of the newest experiences now open in the park. We did see a media day on Saturday, March 21st at the parks, where media and family were able to enjoy the new Bluey's Best Day Ever experience. Along with the interactive show, there are several Bluey-themed food items, including the Pavlova Parfait and the Magic Asparagus. Bluey and Bingo will also be appearing throughout the day, with scheduled times posted so guests can plan their visit, which is really nice. And then Disney had also announced a live band performing revamped versions of songs from the show, and now we've gotten our first look. This week, Disney Imagineering shared a preview of the band that will be part of the experience. Well, we're guessing this is going to be very popular, especially in the first few weeks, so be ready for crowds if you're planning to check it out. And also be ready for lots of Bluey merchandise in all of the stores. And don't forget, the Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival is still going strong at DCA, with just over a month left to experience it through April 27th. The festival is in full swing with 8 marketplaces, the Sip and Savor Pass, and a mix of new and returning items, including the sirloin Gruyere mac and cheese at Garlic Kissed and the Mickey-shaped Snickers macaroon at Encore, California. Remember, Magic Key holders can get a small discount on Sip and Savor passes. And also remember, marketplace booths open at 11 a.m. daily. And there's a new character meet and greet at DCA. You can now meet Bitsy from Super Kitties in Hollywoodland over at DCA. This is one of the first times Bitsy has appeared as a full meet and greet character in the parks. If you're not familiar, Bitsy is from the Disney Junior show Super Kitties, which follows a team of superhero kittens, and Bitsy is the smallest member. Now, this one is sort of tied to the return of the Confection Perfection with the Super Kitties experience, where kids get to decorate a cupcake with Super Kitty theming and music at the Hollywood Backlot stage in DCA. Which, as a side note, we highly recommend. Kids can decorate a cupcake for free, and they make it a really fun experience. Enclosure and construction updates starting in Disneyland. Jungle Cruise remains closed through the end of April at least. Roger Rabbit will close in about a week on March 30th with no reopening date. The monorail closes March 30th with no reopening date for a month so far. Buzz Lightyear closes April 13th. And new this week, the Milk Stand closes tomorrow, Monday, March 23rd for 5 days, so maybe some timeline updates there as well. Over in DCA, the saga continues with Grizzly River Run. It closed on January 5th, and it currently is closed through April on the calendar, so potentially a 4-month closure there. It has been oddly hot in Anaheim, so it has been missed, where normally it is just mild weather and we couldn't really miss it that much. Inside Out is still closed. Its reopening date has been pushed back several times. It now opens March 23rd. And then Toy Story Midway Mania closes April 6th with no reopening date. And in downtown Disney, Pardo's Bakery construction is still very much underway. But this week, the fences did move back. So when you pass the World of Disney store at the end of downtown Disney, you no longer have to double back up the ramp to the tram. You can just keep continuing forward into the Esplanade.
Thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe for more.